Hi, I'm Ivy. Have you ever met someone with cerebral palsy and you start acting weird and awkward because you have no idea how to talk to them? Well, I'm here to give you some tips on ways to communicating with them. Before that, we shall find out more about cerebral palsy.
Cerebral palsy is a physical disability that affects movement and posture. It is due to damage to the developing brain before, during, or after birth. Unlike Down syndrome, cerebral palsy does not affect an individual's lifespan. Cerebral palsy is more common among boys than among girls. Statistics show that 1 out of 278 children in Malaysia have cerebral palsy.
There are different types of cerebral palsy depending on what part of the brain is affected. Spastic is the most common form where the muscles appear stiff and tight. It is associated with damage to or development differences in motor cortex. This kinetic cerebral palsy is characterized by uncontrollable movements which arise from basal ganglia damage. Ataxic is associated with damage to the cerebellum, which affect balance and coordination, and it is characterized by shaky movements. Mixed type is a combination of two or more types associated with damage to multiple areas of the brain.
There are some associated impairments that children with cerebral palsy may experience, and these include a range of physical and cognitive impairments. Statistics shows that 1 in 2 has intellectual disability, 3 in 4 experience pain, 1 in 3 is unable to walk, 1 in 4 is unable to talk, 1 in 4 has epilepsy, 1 in 4 has behavior problem, 1 in 4 has bladder control problem, 1 in 5 has sleep disorder, 1 in 5 has saliva control problem, and 1 in 10 has severe vision impairment.
Aloha! Next, I'll be explaining on the theory of cause of cerebral palsy. The first cause is periventricular leukomalacia. It is the damage of the brain's white matter, which is responsible for directing the communication between the movement and thought processing sections of the brain and the rest of the body. The second cause is infections during pregnancy. Rubella and cytomegalovirus during pregnancy are known to cause cerebral palsy in babies. These viruses cause inflammation in the baby's brain that interferes with normal development. Thirdly, severe untreated jaundice also causes cerebral palsy. The building up of an unsafe level of bilirubin is toxic to the brain and retards brain development in babies. On top of that, cerebral palsy can also be caused by asphyxiation. It is a condition whereby there is a lack of oxygen reaching the brain, which causes severe brain damage to babies during birth.
Hi, I'm back. Are you familiar with cerebral palsy now? And now, I shall impart the secret knowledge of communicating with them to you. Tip 1. Just say hi. It would be rude to just ignore someone, right? Tip 2. Speak directly to them. Don't you hate it when someone is talking about you when you are right in front of them? Resist the temptation to speak to someone with cerebral palsy to someone else. Tip 3. Speak with them as you would with any other adult. They are an adult after all. Tip 4. Avoid leaning on their wheelchair. To someone with cerebral palsy, a wheelchair or other assistive device is like an extension of themselves. Don't touch it unless they invite you like, "Hey, can you push me there?" You wouldn't like it if some stranger started grabbing or leaning on you either. Tip 5. Listen attentively, especially if they have difficulty speaking. Sometimes people with cerebral palsy have difficulty speaking. Listen patiently and actively. Let them speak for themselves. If you don't understand them, say, "I don't understand," or "Could you repeat that?" rather than fake it. Tip 6. Don't ask, "What's wrong with you?" Want to know more about them? It's okay to ask, "If you don't mind me asking, why do you walk like that?" But not, "What's wrong with you?" Me? What's wrong with you? That will be all of the secret knowledge I can teach you. Now don't be afraid to approach someone with cerebral palsy. Remember the tips? Just say hi.